And we are recording. Yes, folks, we are recording the the last map we just did, which was called Oceanhouse Hotel. A map that was straight up ripped from the game Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines. A, short. Very short. B,
Horrible.
it was close. I'm not gonna lie. It's close. It does pay attention to certain events that happen in that house. Hotel. But it's not executable.
I remember that mission in the game taking much, much longer.
Yeah. Look, I understand certain maps you just can't do. This one should have been a hard one to begin with. We've played maps like this. One of my most favorite being Haunted Forest. This is supposed to be a haunted hotel. It does have that atmosphere. It has that dark atmosphere it needs to have. It does have the ghosts whispering to you. It has a ghost that we find. It has shit happening at random. But the one thing that Vampire Masquerade Bloodlines did to their game was they had a lot more to it, like shit flying around that could actually hurt you, especially in a kitchen, because I remember that. This didn't happen.
Wasn't there a puzzle just though? You had to open the one thing to turn on the elevator power or whatever.
Yeah.
Didn't you actually need to... I remember there being a puzzle just to get that cage open.
Yeah, there's a lot more puzzles that weren't in here that should have been implemented. Given I understand it might have been somebody who was a little inexperienced doing another first try, and they didn't do too bad of a job in terms of getting the textures right, getting what events actually happened. But this is far from complete. It's about 50% of it, and they really need to pay a little bit more attention to detail. It's close, but it's not there.
Not even close to the cigar.
Yeah, it needs.
Well, they have the.
They have the basics. They have
the map. The map looks 100% accurate.
Yeah, the map looks accurate. Some of the stuff that they had in there was pretty accurate. But the problem with it is that there was puzzles that were missing.
Yeah, it's the actual mechanics that are missing.
Yeah, the mechanics that were missing, the things that happened that made that hotel a lot scarier than it was for us. Given this is Left 4 Dead, it's a whole different game. It's not using the source engine. It might be hard to code that in, and if it is, well, get somebody who knows how to do coding right. But other than that, you didn't do too bad. It just needs a lot more detail to it. It needs to actually match it to make it lengthened. I mean, we couldn't even get a time. This is another thing. The credit sequence happened, and it's not the credit sequence where it tells us our stats. It's the credits of the actual
Left 4
game.
Dead 2 credits.
And that's a problem.
And the whole time we were idle and we're getting murdered by specials and then restarted.
Yeah, it's stuff like that that kind of hurts it. The white light that took
Kinda.
Well, hold on. The white light that took us to the past and then brought us back to the present. That is actually part of the game. That's a game mechanic that works right where it should, and that's right. Only problem is you have this happen at the ending, and it's not very long after we have that it does end, but it's at the very end. And it's just a black screen that rolls the credits of the game, not the credits of our playthrough.
I still don't even know what triggered it, because I was just chasing a smoker. It might have been that I went through the door. It might have been that I got close to where we were starting, because I know I wasn't that far away.
Well, in the game, I believe all you had to do was to get the... I think you get the magic locket or whatever the fuck you're trying to get.
You're supposed to get
it in that history part when you're in the past, isn't it?
You're supposed to find it in the book.
Yeah, so we got it from the book, and then
went back to
then you just leave. That's kind of the mission, but it...
Yeah, but there was so much more that was missing.
But there was the side mission there where you actually free the ghost from its imprisonment in the house.
Yeah.
To that we didn't do.
Well, not only that, there's also certain things like in the very start of it, the ghost is actually helping you go where you need to go. That was actually one of the cool things about that, is that they had the ghost basically say you need to come this way where I'm at. So when you go check it out, that's where you're supposed to go. And it didn't show that. It didn't have that ghost, so you're just left guessing. Given this, the whole map is not really that big.
Wasn't that game actually a Source game?
I don't remember. I think it might have been, but it was running a different version of Source.
It might have been the older version, yeah.
Yeah. This needed a lot more. I'm not gonna lie. It just felt like we were missing a lot of things that it needed.
I didn't even know what was going on half the time.
Yeah, and with that, do you guys have any more to add to the first mission? No. Kyo?
No.
Alright. We're going to move on to the review. We're going to break it down. Again, a lot of these we don't have any stats for, and that's kind of a problem. So, right away, we're going to say common infected to, well, actually, general infected at all. Was it overwhelming, underwhelming, the right amount? Kyo, we'll start with you since Meta's not here, and it's our normal rotation. So, Kyo, what'd you think about the common infected, or general infected, in fact?
Well, let's see. I'm gonna give it no stars. I mean, look at it. They were either non-existent or they came in large waves.
Okay.
And which we cleared out basically immediately with no trouble.
All right.
There was nothing to them.
All right. Dread.
0.
All right.
They were there. They said hello. We shot them in the face, gave them their face cookies, and then they left.
All right. I'm going to say 0, too. There was none. There was none unless they came in a large wave, and then we just obliterated them with a shotgun. This partly goes with the fact that we beat this in such a easy time that it didn't have a chance.
We could have probably just had it. Everyone else, don't take any guns. Just have one person with a shotgun.
Yeah,
we probably
pretty
could
much.
have still made it through.
Yeah. In fact, the only harder part that ever knocked us down or killed us was literally the ladder. Okay, so
yeah, I was the only one
that was the only difficult part of this map. So yeah, it's a 0. The infected were nothing. They had no business being there. In fact,
we're almost like they weren't there.
Yeah, pretty much. Moving on to length. Again, we don't know the number of how long this map took. I can do a quick check. In fact, give me a second.
Extremely fucking short.
Well, about 15 minutes. Which actually hits our average. But for one round map, it just barely hits it. Kyo, what'd you think about the length?
Yeah, well, it felt just way too goddamn short.
Okay.
I mean, no map should be that, especially when you're referencing some that took maybe an hour to beat.
Oh yeah.
Alone. I give it no star.
All right.
I mean, it took at least an hour to beat that mission.
Mm-hmm.
But nope. Condensed to 15 minutes. No, it's no good.
Okay. Dread.
I will give it a 32. 16th of a star. Because you said it was right within our limit for one part, and also because I never played the game. So
You know, Dread.
16th of a star.
You know, Dread, I'll just agree with you because of that. The length, this map felt really short compared to what the original one was from the game. The original one I've seen playthroughs.
The amount of time we had more fun with Zombies of the Caribbean.
Okay. The reason I say, well, we all say that this is a really short one. It's just it just didn't feel like it had anything going for it. It's like, okay, we're here, done. Okay. We expected more. That's the first thing. The second thing is it does not match well to the original variation of this same map. The original mission from Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines is really, really long. It's also a lot more scarier. It basically hit the atmosphere of a haunted house should. In a lot of ways, when we would play Haunted Forest, because that is pretty much our favorite map in terms of custom, that one plays exactly almost the same way. Maybe not have that mission aspect, but it's got some of that feeling of atmosphere that it works so well.
It's got the creepy shit that just flashes in front of you or
Yeah,
flashes on the wall.
It works well for haunted themed maps. This one had that same darkness. It had the idea going with it, but it didn't execute the haunted factor. It didn't scare us. It just kind of just was there. So yeah, the time was short, and you really, in order to make a haunted version of a map, you need a lot of time. You need to make that thing drag out to let the player kind of feel, okay, at first beginning it's not going to be this really scary part. It's going to like try to jump scare you, but it's not going to be bad. And then once you're in the middle of it, like you've been in there for 30 minutes, it's already starting to hit you because you're now looking around the corner trying to think, oh, is it safe? Is it safe? Or am I getting another jump scare? And you turn around and it's safe. It's kind of got you going. This one didn't have that, and the original map did. That's the weird thing. So yeah, it's a 16th on the time. It's very small. It shouldn't have been that quick. There was a lot more you missed. Moving on to difficulty, I'm just going to assume we're all going to give it a 0.
0.
Yep.
Yeah.
There was no difficulty.
Yeah, when your difficulty is literally a ladder, there's no difficulty.
It's kind of saying something when your highest difficulty is a ladder.
Yeah, I'll admit that.
What are we going to fight it with? A link noodle?
To be fair, though, if we don't have the achievement of beating export realism, hey, we can do this map.
We could just do Zombies of the Caribbean.
That too. But that's just a joke. Yeah, this needs a lot more work on difficulty. There is no tank. We didn't even come across. We heard one, but that was a
Yeah, we heard it, but it never showed up.
It never showed up. We had a witch.
It gave us bile, but we never really had to use it.
We didn't even need a thrown weapon. We didn't need the adrenaline unless we were down, and only time we were downed, again,
was because of that ungodly evil ladder of doom.
Yeah.
Look out, it's gonna steal all your piggy banks and all your purple drink.
Anyway, yeah, that's a problem. So that needs to be worked on. Difficulty needs to drag out that whole thing. Throw in a tank, scripted, something like that. It just didn't have it. Moving on to design. Now, this one I actually need you guys to give your personal opinions. We can't just say all of us 0. We need more. Kyo, what do you want to give it on design?
At the very least, it did have it was an accurate, well, it was, can't give it a 0 because it was detailed enough, you know?
Yeah.
But I don't know what percentage of less than half I want to give it.
Just go with 1/16.
Well, 1/16.
Okay. Dread.
0. I wasn't allowed to use our mods. None of us were.
Okay. I'm going to be a little bit more fair here. I'm going to give it a 1/4.
That's too much.
No. I can actually back this up. I take a 1/2 star alone just because you didn't allow us to have our custom mods. When you don't if a map doesn't allow any of the players to bring in our customization mods to it to either impact what the zombies look like, which I do have these ones that make them molten designed. If I don't have that, it does kind of irritate me a bit, but some of them are my weapons, some of them are just cool looking, and I didn't have that. And then there's also the fact that I have one that's just really a HUD to let me look at players' health, and I didn't have that, so it does bother me, especially since I'm pretty much had to go back to vanilla without the mods. That's a 1/2 star design. That means you fucked up somewhere that doesn't allow customization mods into it. The second thing I can dock a 1/4 star is that it didn't give all the things it was supposed to from the map, the actual mission. It didn't have the puzzles. It didn't take as long. But the reason I can give it a 1/4 is it did have most of it. It did have the flashback. It did have all the textures right. It did have the placement of where you had to go right. It had the kitchen. It told you what you needed to do, and it gave directions to you. It did have some of the screams that needed to be in there. It did have a little bit of a scare factor in the fact that some places are better than others. Like when we were just in the kitchen, I remember from the original mission, because I've seen a playthrough of it, is that shit was supposed to go down and there was fire and shit like that, and it could hurt you. Well, fire could hurt you, but it didn't have shit flying around. That's still little things you got right. It just needs a lot more work. So I'll give it a quarter just to be realistic to it. It did have some of the stuff, just not all of it. Moving on, it's safe to assume we don't recommend this.
0. It's horrible.
Nope, it's pretty bad.
Yeah.
It goes in its corner. It goes in its corner with that other map that I hated. That the creator probably hates me for.
Okay. Yeah, it's not a good one. It needs a lot more work. It needs difficulty. It needs to be lengthened. It needs to be impactful. It needs to
be an actual map.
Dred mentioned this Pirates of the Caribbean map, which is Zombies of the Caribbean is what they call it. That map alone, we gave it 2 stars. The main reason we did is it hit the design right, and it was fun. This is the exact opposite. It did have the design for the most part.
This is anti-fun.
But it's not fun. It's something that, A, you have to play the game, obviously. Or at least watch a playthrough of it. And I liked this game. I bought it on Steam. The thing is, I can't play it because, well, the company that originally had Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines kind of went out of business, so there's no patch. That aside, the game is fun. It's fun to play. It's all that, and it has the atmosphere perfectly. It has a lot of good voice acting. It's got a lot of good things going about it. This map is a nice homage, just kind of paying tribute to it, but at the same time, it's not executed well. It needs a lot of work. In a player standpoint, you can play this on the hardest difficulty possible and still beat it. On a person that is barely below average when it comes to playing Left 4 Dead 2. That's the sad thing. It needs that difficulty. It needs to have those puzzles. It needs to have better design. It needs to work a lot more. So this, you may say, if it's complete in terms of getting to point A to point B, it is complete.
But other than that, it's not.
Other than that, the stuff that you're missing, that's the middle of the detail, the attention to detail from the original mission, it's not complete. It's about half complete. You did the first half of it, and you made it easy.
Actually, with the design, there were also things that were textureless whenever you walked by them. At least on my end, because I saw pictures on the wall going textureless.
Dread, I've seen it too. I believe that's just part of the textures, though. And I don't really blame him for it. It's just sometimes Left 4 Dead doesn't like certain textures. I've had that happen before. It's not new. And some of them are well placed. But yeah, it's just one of those kind of maps. Obviously, Kyo and Dread gave it a 16th. It happens. And then I gave it a little higher, of course. It's math ways. It's it's a 16th.
No, you gotta figure that out.
You gave it 0.1 of a star.
It's 5/16 of a star. I was a little bit more forgiving when it came to design, but the only reason I'm a little bit forgiving is because it does have that potential to actually work. It's just, you need to pay more attention to the design. As far as the custom mods, I can forgive that if you put your own in. It could work in this situation.
There wasn't even anything really that custom that would interrupt our mod.
Yeah, that's the thing, is what we're really confused about, because it was interrupting all of ours. And I don't believe that's Left 4 Dead doing that. That's got to be something with your mods. Either that you eliminated that, made sure it's not possible. It's something up with your... and
it means the map is horrible.
To you, Dread. and I don't want to hurt that. If you could fix that, that's fine. It improves the score a little bit. Like, I might jump it up to a half. At least it worked. But other than that, no. It needs work on the design. It needs work on the length. It needs work on putting more zombies in it. It needs work on making it more difficult. It's just all these points that we make is what makes the essentials of a campaign. Just kind of didn't hit them all. It barely hit the design, but on a very low level. So anyway, unless you guys have anything more to add.
No, not really.
Okay.
This map was bad.
Alright.
Yeah.
Since Meta is not here, I will do his thing. Like, comment, and subscribe. To the creators of the map, if you want, you can PM me, or you can PM Keo, Dread if you really want to, or even Meta at that point. But that you can do that, or you can just leave a comment below. Please, we enjoy having your comments. It gives us some info on what we should do better next time.
We would actually like some feedback.
Yeah. Oh, and there is one comment to this one guy. He did comment on an old playthrough of ours, Let's Build a Car. I left a comment. I don't know if he actually seen it, because I did reply to it. But just to let you know, Let's Build a Car A is way out of beta. That map, when we did it the first time, it was well into beta. It was just starting out. So we haven't played it since it went out of beta. Technically, we did, but the creator said it wasn't, and we're not playing it again. The second time, all he did was improve the lighting, and he improved certain other things. He made it more difficult. That's all he did. So, as far as the adrenaline comment that he made, that still confuses me because that playthrough says it. So, to that guy, whoever made it, I don't remember his name, unfortunately. Go read it. I explain everything in it, and please watch the whole entire playthrough again and pay attention, because I did use the adrenaline. Anyways, I'll leave you off with that. Any more? You guys have anything to add to that?
This map was disappointing too.
I have absolutely nothing to add to anything at all.
Oh, hi.
Oh my god, it's a zombie.
Oh, hi, Meta. Yeah, he made it, but he's kind of... See you later, guys.